Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, greetings, Boise State fans. How about that one? 35-13, the comeback win for Boise State. Kent Riddle, BJ Rains, we are here at the James, back on the patio. The music is playing, the drinks are flowing, everybody's having a good time. And Kent, didn't look like at halftime we were going to be in this good a mood tonight, but what a turnaround in the second half and a big win for Boise State.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of working through some things and persevering through it. The defense was obviously dominant, to hold them to two field goals in the first half there. Obviously, there's, the one touchdown. Defense didn't even get a chance, but that was big. 13-0 is a lot different than 21-0, and for them to stop that and hold them there. I knew it was just a matter of time before the offense got going, and you got to see some good things from
Colin. We got to boost up his mic here. Can you go ahead and take off the 2 and put it back on just the 1 for Coach Riddle? Just get rid of the splitter, and we'll get your mic figured out. Sorry, Kent, but 316 rushing yards for Boise State in this one. They had 200-yard rushers for the first time since 2016. They nearly had 300-yard rushers for the first time in program history. They just needed 18 more from Ashton Genty there. But Talon Green in the first quarter, Kent was doing a lot more of the handing off. In the third quarter, he kept it a lot more, which opened up things for him, but also opened up things for the other running backs as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw San Diego State probably I think the first one was the Ashton's touchdown run. You saw Talon had already pulled one out of that same formation and went ripping around the edge. I think it was like 3rd and 4 and knocked off about a 20-yard run. And then the next time they got 3rd and medium situation, he went ripping around the end, faking it, and there was a huge crease there, and Ashton took it to the house, which, I just think you're going to see way more and more of that in the run game. So much to talk about. We'll take your comments. We'll take your questions. We got highlights to show. We got folks stopping by that want to come on the air with questions. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I'm going to try to read all my notes that I wrote down here, Kent, in the dark. But you come out at the beginning of the game, offense struggles a little bit, but the defense holding both times inside the 5-yard line to field goals. It could have been 14-0. Instead, it's only 6-0. And then I know they had the punt return, which made it 13-0. But how big was it defensively? I know it's kind of forgotten, but to hold them to field goals those first couple of drives. Oh, those are huge. And that's been a Boise State mantra forever, is 3 or nothing. When you get down in there, and to hold them field goals is great. But I think probably be remiss if we didn't give the crowd a big shout out. Yeah. Like they knocked them back maybe at least four plays in those 2 drives where they forced, might have been 5. Yeah, a couple false starts. There was a delay of game, I think, in there. Yeah, all that stuff. And that was all on the crowd. That's obviously a huge deal. And
you add 5 yards onto any down and distance, but some of those were crucial. I mean, you knock them back to 1st and 15, 3rd and 8 instead of 3rd and 3. I think there was a penalty in there on a touchdown play. So I think all those, like, this was a Bronco Nation win, everybody. And sometimes it just takes a minute for the defense, the crowd, everybody to keep it in check, and then the offense comes around. It took a minute, but, hey, a lot of changes in 5 days, and you got to the second half, and look at what the Broncos did.
We are here at the James. You can see the tiki torches are lit behind us. You can see the stadium lights still on behind us. Awesome spot. Ken, I saw you here pregame having dinner. Now we're here for more. It's, you can't get enough of the James. It's a great spot. We appreciate Barry and Darren College and the whole crew for having us out here. So if you haven't been to the James, they got happy hour starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoons. Come on down and check it out. And we'll be here again next Saturday, at least for the pregame show. We'll have to figure out postgame. It's going to be a little later with the 7:45 start. But we got
get down here and get some pizza.
There you go.
The meatball pizza is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, and I think Barry said he's going to be bringing some our way here in a little bit. So we've both got a beverage. We're having a good time. Nate Staley says, hasn't been that excited for a win in a while. Such an important game. The boys delivered. The next cutwater is on him. That sounds good to me. Sam Vidlak, question here, comment here. Sam Vidlak looked really good in the pocket when he had time. I know that was kind of by design to go to him in the second quarter there, but what did you make of, going from Green to Vidlak in the second quarter and then going back to Green in the second half?
Well, I think in the first half, they're just trying to figure out what was going to work a little bit. Dirk's just taken over and probably hadn't seen a ton of those guys and live fire situation. Just kind of figure that out. Plus, it gives the defense something to think about. I mean, they had no idea who was going to come out in the second half. So maybe they're making their adjustments based on, hey, Vidlak's coming out in the third quarter, and all of a sudden it's Talon.
Yep.
And they went to some different schemes to get the quarterback run game going. They went to some two tailback stuff. I think the first big play in the second half was or maybe it was a touchdown, but anyway, 2 tailbacks in the backfield, and just gave them a different look, and I think that was awesome.
Second half, they rarely threw the ball at all. Only like 3 pass attempts or something in the whole second half, and I guess Andy said, if it's why not? If it's working, keep it going. But they had 2 straight touchdown drives where they literally ran the ball every play on the entire drive. You had the one where Talon Green had the 39-yard touchdown run.
Yep. I think that was the first drive.
Yeah, the one before that, actually, was Ashton Genty had the 32-yard touchdown run. That made it 21-13. Then you had the next one, Talon Green with the 39-yarder going back towards the facility at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But 2 straight drives where you go 6 plays, then 5 plays, all runs. It was working, but what changed in terms of the adjustments at halftime, or in terms of in the first quarter? Like I said, Talon was handing that off almost every time. I was talking to Richie Brockle in the press box at halftime, and I'm like, I don't know why they're not doing more designed runs for Talon like the San Diego State was for their quarterback. Third quarter, that's what we saw, or at least Talon, keeping it more. And
I don't think those were designed runs. I think they were reads.
Okay.
And I think early on, San Diego State was taking the quarterback, and he was handing it off. And like I said, I think it was the first drive of the third quarter. That's the one I was talking about where Talon pulled it and ran it in.
Yeah, you had the pick.
The
pick
touchdown play.
Yeah.
But they hit a 3rd and 4 and went to their 13 personnel, 3 tight ends.
Okay.
And San Diego State all sucked down. Talon pulled it, and he beat a guy one-on-one. And I thought it was going to be a touchdown. Guy actually was able to push him out of bounds barely. But I think it was a 20-yard-ish run. Yeah. And then the next time they came back to that, Talon acted like he pulled it, ran outside, and Ashton ran it, off the left side.
Yeah.
For like a 30-yard touchdown run or whatever. I think that was the first touchdown of the – or no, I'm sorry. Talon actually had the first touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
well, I wanted to start with the Tyreek Jones interception. How big was that on the first play of the third quarter there?
That was awesome. Yeah. I mean, momentum, right?
Yeah. Well, and just an offense that was struggling to move the ball now gets to start at the 28-yard line or whatever it was.
Yes, absolutely. I think the where they started was probably less pertinent than where they how they got the ball.
Yep.
You know, just to take it away and just that energy flowing through everybody. And I thought, I thought that was a game changer. You know, as ironic as it sounds, I mean, if San Diego State just runs it out and punts, they may, you know, who knows? But I thought Boise State had a great plan for the second half. I thought they kind of held some stuff back in terms of the two tailbacks out there and the quarterback read game and the second tailback arcing to block the guy and getting tailing out on the perimeter. I thought that was big time.
You're a big special teams guy. The punt block. James Ferguson Reynolds dropped the ball, then picked it up, tried to punt it, got blocked, and they scored. And all of a sudden, I mean, I saw some people on social media saying ball game, like they're not moving the ball. Now you're down 13-0. I know it's a long game, but what'd you see is there anything differently that James could have done there after he dropped it and picked it back up? Or do you try to still hurry and get a punt off there or what?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'd love to tell you.
So once you drop it, the play is pretty much messed up.
I mean, whether they, I mean, I guess.
Could you pull it in
20/20 hindsight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't punt it and have it fall into a guy's hands, and he does that. But that's 20/20 hindsight. I mean, if that ball gets – you're not feeling really good if you get tackled there either.
Sure.
So, I mean, if you knew San Diego State was going to struggle like that on offense, yeah, sure, fall on it, let the defense play. And I'm sure tomorrow they'll probably coach that up like, hey, we've got a great defense. Don't ever try that again. Let that happen. But I don't think that was I mean, you got a guy that's been playing Australian rules football.
Yeah.
He's not playing. I just think that's something that's going to be really tough for him to ever do.
So,
but I would like, I mean, hey, bounce back.
Yeah.
It was a one-time thing. It didn't rattle him. He had a good game after that. So,
So that made it 13-0 early in the second quarter. Vidlak comes in. He had the 53-yard pass to Bowens. You're feeling like they're finally moving, but they had some penalties, which moved him back out of field goal range.
They had a tough face mask call there, which, hey, I mean, not that it wasn't a face mask call, but tough call. I mean, sometimes that stuff happens, and you got to try and recover, but 15-yard penalties are hard to recover from. And
sure,
they did a good job trying to fight back, get in field position, and they got knocked back. I think after the 15-yarder, I think they had another 5-yarder. And that'll all be things they work on. I mean, you got a new quarterback behind. Operation was really good for changing quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, we got the first half highlights here. As we talked about, San Diego State came out, took advantage. Kent had the two, got down there twice, but Boise State's defense hung tough. And from a confidence standpoint, to be able to keep them out of the end zone twice in the first quarter, that really was huge.
No doubt. And like I said, I mean, that's always been the mantra is 3 or nothing. And to hold them to 3, I thought was huge because it gives the team confidence because it all the stuff you're talking about, it happens. And as that happens, it builds confidence for the whole team. Like, hey, we don't need a touchdown to go ahead or to tie it or whatever.
Yep.
So even at halftime, 13-0, it's like, hey, guys, we need 2 scores. They come out the first play of the second half, throw a pick. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, here we go. And then I think it's 2-play drive, right?
Yep.
And they score. And then now it's like, okay, we need 1 play. And then now we're back in it.
After that punt return touchdown, though, it got pretty quiet. What was the mood like in the stands there after that play made it 13-0?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm probably oblivious to that. But I think what happened on the sideline was guys like, all right, hey, let's dial this in. Let's get this together. Like we're not out of this. We're only down 2 scores.
Yep.
So let's figure this out, move ahead together. Defense, you keep doing what you're doing. And offense, we're going to get this thing rolling, which they did.
Did Vince Young put number 10 on for Boise? I can't tell the difference. It seemed like Green could get 10 yards whenever he wanted. 6 false starts. This gentleman, Nick's pointing out, that's 14, I believe, in 2 games now that the Bronco Nation has caused.
Hey, man, that's a huge deal. Huge home field advantage.
One was down there when they had 1st and goal at the 5 and pushed him back.
And I think they were almost all on the south side.
Yep.
So let's get the north end zone cranked up a little bit. Little challenge. But, no, I mean, that's a huge deal, whether you're going in or coming out. And I mean, when you're down on that end of the field,
yep,
and 5 yards, whether you're backing up and you don't have much room, well, I guess either side.
Yeah.
You know, whether it gets a 1st and goal from the 15 or, 1st and 12 from the 3, either way, it's bad.
No doubt about it. Someone's wanting us to interview Darren College. I saw him earlier. I don't know if he's around here or not. Maybe he will be.
See in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. He's celebrating the win too. One of the best games I've been to. So take us into the locker room at halftime. When you're down 13-0, it's not going great on offense. I mean, Taylor Green, I have 2 of 6 for 19 yards. Then they switch there. What's I mean, like you said, it's 13-0. The offense hadn't really got on track yet, other than that punt return, which kind of skewed the score. It was 6-0 really.
Yeah,
so
that's what I think. I think you're talking about is like, hey guys, offense, like we can get this thing together. Like what's our best stuff? How are we getting it to our best guys? What are we doing well? Let's eliminate the mistakes we've made, because the defense is kicking ass, and we're not going to have to score a bunch of points, although they did, right?
Yep.
But we're not out of this, so nobody panic. Let's just get one possession. And I think in that locker room, there's a lot of trust on the offensive side. Like, hey, the defense is probably going to put us in a good situation here before too long. And certainly they did. And I think the defensive guys know, hey, these guys are working their ass off over here. They're going to get us a touchdown. We're going to get this. We're going to get some momentum going. And I think the other side of it, like you saw San Diego State kind of at the end, like once Boise State got up 21-13, I think you saw the other side, like San Diego State, that maybe not a lot of faith, like we're going to be able to get this done.
Yeah.
And that's probably where a few of those big plays.
Well, we're going to see the second half highlights here in a second, but I wanted to ask you, JL Skinner, that they go and take a look at it potentially for a targeting call. It was helmet to helmet, but helmet to helmet doesn't always mean it's targeting. But so you had 2 things happen there. One, you almost lost JL Skinner for the game, and he was having a pretty good game. Luckily, that's not targeting, but the flip side was it also unfortunately knocked out their quarterback. He went out of the game and didn't come back in after that. And I know he was more of a runner anyway. But you look at what was going on there. That was a big play in the game, because San Diego State ended up going to their 3rd quarterback at one point. So what'd you make of that swing in the game? Because Burmeister, once he went out and didn't come back in, and that did seem to change things. And if Skinner had been called for targeting, that would have been a huge loss.
Yeah, obviously JL is one of the best players on the team, and the flip side is somebody would have stepped up and been a good player too. I mean, those things are scary because you never know how they're going to turn out. Everybody interprets that stuff differently, no matter if it's – I wish I had a great answer. I mean, we all watched Tua last week and then last night. I think people are obviously extra sensitive about that stuff, and I wish there was great answers about that, but I don't have a yeah.
But I mean,
I'm not going to try and be a
no, but I mean, from
this guy should play, this guy shouldn't play.
But I mean, from a standpoint, as Andy always says, guys are starters for a reason. And when San Diego State had their starter knocked out of the game, that was I thought that was a big momentum switch for Boise State.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough. Yeah.
As a coach, I mean, they went down to their third stringer at one point. I mean, it was 5 quarterbacks saw action in the game tonight, but I thought that was a big play when Burmeister had to come out of the game, and obviously that really changed things. We got the second half highlights here. I mean, it was a tale of two halves, obviously, and it started off quick on that pick interception by Tyreek Jones on the first play.
Yeah, that was a huge play. Like I said, I mean, momentum. It really the same way San Diego State started the game, right? I mean, almost on the same type of play. And, so the touchdown there, that was where Boise State went to the 2 tailbacks in the game. I thought that was a big change. And, and then the pass rush, I mean, I thought just overwhelmed San Diego State.
Total yards, I know at one point it was only like 100 and
I think San Diego State finished with around 100.
I got the old. They passed out
maybe?
the old. I hope I have it in here. I'm reading the UTEP stats, so that's not the same. But yeah, they were like at 100, and they barely got over 100. And I wonder why those stats didn't look right. I was looking at the book from UTEP. How about that?
Well,
those stats. I'd much rather look at these stats right here from this game. But it was 114 total yards.
I was in the ballpark.
Yeah,
I was close.
And that was George Chelani rumbling through there. 5 rushing touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah, again, I mean, I just think they did some great stuff. They got into a little bit more 13 personnel, kind of forced San Diego State to pack the box a little bit. And then with the threat of Talon getting outside of the box, opened up some big creases inside.
And you had the forced fumble there. They almost came up with another turnover, couldn't quite get it. But here was Ashton Genty. We saw some big things from the true freshman tonight.
Oh, he's going to be fantastic. Yeah, that's a guy, he's a guy like in high school is 200-plus all-purpose yards per game. That's one of the things that I thought really stood out about him. He's a special kind of guy. I think Doug Martin obviously raised the flag tonight.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of guy you're talking about.
And you got, him and George, and like I said, they narrowly had 3 guys rush for 100 yards because you had George Helani well over 100. He was at 135. You had Talon Green at 105 and 82 for Genty. So 3 guys with 80-plus rushing yards.
George is phenomenal. Some of the tackles he ran.
Speaking of George, coming right towards the camera here.
And you can just see even from that angle, like all the guys chasing Talon out of there because one time earlier in the game he pulled it and ran for 30. I mean those are huge plays.
Boise State again wins it. That nice celebration on the field, and didn't expect to see that coming in the second half. But 5 rushing touchdown, as I said, and 3 guys rushed for 80 yards. Is this sustainable though, Ken? I mean, can you pass for whatever the final passing yards number was? It was, I guess it was 134 yards because Sam Vidlak had 86. But Talon Green, 5 of 10.
I think they had 50 of those on one play, right?
Yeah, but you had Talon Green only had 4 pass attempts, I think, in the second half. I mean, I know it worked.
Did Air Force last week, did they not throw for 1 pass for 80 yards?
Yeah.
75, something like that for a touchdown.
Okay.
And I think every other play was a run.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the triple option is a little different, but I mean, when it's as one-dimensional as it's going to be, I guess when you got 3 guys like that,
I mean, if you've got a quarterback that can carry the ball and they have to honor him doing that, then is it sustainable? Absolutely. I mean, does everybody want to see more of something else? Sure, but it's a matter, and Dirk as good a play caller as there is anywhere.
Yep.
So he'll understand that, and when they overcommit, they'll. The flip side is, hey, maybe we don't throw it as much, but we throw it for way more yards when we do.
Genty's going to be the next J train, if not better, is what Christopher said there.
Well,
tough to get to that level. Different. I mean, you look at the size that Genty. He's not the tallest guy, but he is built pretty thick, and
he's thick.
And he moves forward, pushes the pile forward, he spins forward, he gets yards. I mean, not a ton does he get hit behind, stay behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, do I think he's going to be J train? Probably not. Do I think he's going to be a really good player? Absolutely.
Somebody said to get you a drink. He's got a drink here. We're having a good time. We're celebrating the win here. We're at the James, by the way. We got some fans that have some questions for us. We'll get to them in a minute. But the change at offensive coordinator 4 games into the season. That's a pretty big deal to make the change there. And then your quarterback leaves. I mean, there was a lot of possible distractions, adversity, whatever you want to call it this week. What does it say about this team that all that happens? Then you get down the way you do at halftime to be able to rally in the second half, score 35 unanswered, and get a really key win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a ton of stuff, but I think on good teams, which I think this is, guys rally around each other. They understand, like, hey, stuff happens, and we're what's left. So, like, let's band together and make this work out for us. And it's probably not over at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to face more adversity, and it might be a quarter, it might be a half, but I mean, there's certainly nobody left on the schedule that I don't think they can beat. And I would assume the team doesn't think they can beat. I mean, I would expect them to feel like, hey, we're going to win every game.
And coming off a rough, like the way you lost to UTEP, you're 2-2, it's not feeling good. Getting back into conference play, knowing you were already 1-0 in conference play, and knowing that you still technically control your own destiny. I mean, was that easier, you think, to move past the UTEP game? Is it easier to focus guys when you say, all right, we're back in conference play, our goal up on the wall is still attainable? As bad as it's been, there's still plenty of time to make something of this season here.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. I mean, our goal here is always to win the Mountain West Conference until there's a different conference, right? But it's always to win the Mountain West Conference, and then we'll figure it out from there. And I would expect these guys to be able to do that. And I would expect them to be, the way they play tonight, to be favored most of the way. I mean, I'm not a Vegas guy, but I would.
There's not too many games. I mean, the Air Force game maybe will be a tough one. But you look at the rest of the games, Colorado. I mean,
I'll just say this: I would bet on them.
There you go. Logan Byler, by the way, says shout out to the Seattle Mariners. They clinch a playoff spot. Good for the Mariners, first time since like 2001.
Probably happy.
Yes, I'm sure that
Cards
he is.
Wrapped it up a couple.
I was
going to
say, we've already known. We're already setting up the pitching rotation here.
Cool, 7:01 tonight.
I did see that. Very excited. We should just talk Cardinals for the rest of the show. I'm excited. Nate says he's not even thinking about Fresno celebrating tonight. Fresno will be a tough matchup. Broncos have the momentum. They got to play tomorrow in Connecticut and then fly all the way back. We don't know the status yet of Jake Haener, their quarterback. He's not playing tomorrow. We don't know about next week. But what's that like, playing, at least it's a day game, I believe, but playing in Connecticut, flying all the way back to Fresno, and then turning around and coming back to Boise?
Much better flying east to west.
Okay. You get the hours back?
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you're flying west to east, it's a nightmare.
You guys did after UCF, you came back overnight, I guess, right? You went from Florida all the way back.
Yeah, and we rebounded pretty quick. I mean, I think it's better to be on the West Coast. When the Big Ten goes coast to coast, I'd rather be UCLA or USC flying home after a East Coast game
than Rutgers leaving from a UCLA or something. Yeah. That's it's a 4-hour flight, 5-hour flight, plus you lose 3 hours.
Yes, exactly.
Well, there was a question here about the O-line. In the first half, the O-line really struggled. We saw one miscommunication where OJ just missed a guy, and a guy came in unblocked and just had a huge sack. The first half, it did not look great. But I guess when you have a mobile quarterback like Talon Green in the second half, all of a sudden the O-line looked great in the second half. Where are you at on the O-line right now? A lot of fans, that's kind of the one area they're still looking at that could be a little better.
Hey, the easiest position to pick on ever is the O-line.
Yep.
But sometimes sacks are, even going back to when Jay was here, like Jay was a phenomenal pass blocker.
Yeah.
But sometimes they weren't always on the same page. And literally it might have happened one time. All right. So I'm not picking on Jay. But, I mean, because guys come free, it's not always the O-line.
Yep.
That would be the biggest thing I'd say. And, everybody wants the O-line to – I mean, it's awesome when they knock guys 10 yards back and you just kind of roll down the field. But that's not the reality of football anymore. And I thought they played well tonight. I think those guys are. I mean, they've had to make a lot of adjustments. They've got guys moving around, playing around. I didn't see Kakani out there tonight. I think Mason Randolph was back in.
Yep, still no Ben Dooley.
Dooley's not out there.
We saw a boot, by the way, on the field. Kakani was wearing a boot while he was standing on the sideline. So we'll see what happens there. But they are banged up. I mean, they're without 2 of the 5 you thought you'd have.
Yeah, and Beresford went out at the end.
Yep.
So, those guys they're moving around. Those guys are the toughest freaking dudes on the planet. Maybe outside of wrestlers, those guys. But, I mean, those guys, like, they battle through everything. And sometimes they get blamed for stuff that is their fault, and sometimes it's not their fault. But it's never because they're not trying hard enough, but do I think we have good players there? Absolutely. I know that's been a knock for a couple of years, but I mean, we got a bunch of guys playing in the NFL, and for everybody to for however many years, it's the O-line. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on.
Sure,
okay,
definitely,
and it's not any one thing.
Yeah,
it's a multitude of things, and I thought tonight, especially in the second half, they really simplified things and made it easy, and then they were able to come off ball, knock some guys off.
Like I said, it looked a lot better in the second half.
Like I said, I mean, they got into some different formations tonight that you probably haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
Some of the 13 personnel, some of the two tailback stuff. Is that different when you got Talon out there than Hank? Yeah, absolutely it is. And one guy's a little bit more of a threat to run the ball. One guy's a lot more of a threat to throw the ball.
Yeah,
so
no doubt about it.
I thought the biggest thing tonight was to watch a team pull together, work together, and the defense, especially in the first half, hey guys, we got you, and to keep it close and give the offense time to figure it out. And then, God, did they figure it out? I mean, they kicked ass.
That second half was great. Colin, were any of those guys wanting to come on? Or okay. All right. If any of them, let them know. If they do, we'll throw them on for a question or a comment. We got a lot of comments rolling in here. Whoever got the offense fired up at halftime deserved the game ball tonight. What an incredible turnaround. Whole team seemed to be playing with fire and intensity. Avalos fired up on the sideline. We saw a spark we haven't seen all season. Feels like it's the first time we've seen Avalos show some emotion. He was firing up the south end zone after they got one of those penalties. South end zone equals the best. It's a flip-flop that Bill says from last year's San Diego State game. You guys were up 16-3, and then they scored 24 unanswered to end the game. It was 13-0. This time Boise State scores 35 unanswered in this one. What led to Talon keeping the ball in the second half, Brant? We kind of talked about that, but why do you think Talon – was that a coaching thing? Is that Talon – are they telling him to try to keep a few more of those, or did he see something, or why was that different in the second half?
I'm not sure what they're telling him, but I think all things being equal, hey, Talon, if it's you and one guy, keep the ball. You're going to beat him. And I thought there was a couple times where, they had a guy for him and he just outran the guy. And I think that's going to be something you see. You watch Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, the best quarterbacks, one guy's not enough.
Sure.
You're going to have to really scheme, how are we stopping this guy and having enough guys on the running back.
The audio is not great. I'm just warning you, but let's hear a couple of minutes quickly from Andy Avalos, Boise State head coach. I was told he was kind of tapping on the screen. Maybe it's not great, but here's Coach Avalos after the win.
Those guys, it's the way the game works and the opportunities that are in front of you. If you commit to the opportunities and you stay together in this game, it's unbelievable what will happen. And that's what the team did, and that's what we talked about in the locker room at halftime. To be honest with you, you guys are out there, you saw it. We made some mistakes in the first half. They're really easy mistakes to clean up, simple things of us just doing our job and doing it really well and just focusing on our 111. And those things aren't hard to clean up when you just commit to doing that. And that's what they did in the second half. Well, I mean, he ran up and down that field. I think he had 105 yards rushing on 8 attempts. Really showed what he's capable of doing in terms of stretching the defense. Not only what he did on the perimeter in terms of the zone reads and stretching the perimeter of the defense, but you can obviously see what happens inside for the running backs, the lanes that creates, and then obviously the vertical run game that's able to come off of that stuff. Go ahead, Jay. Yeah, we believed all along that we got the right guys and the right personnel. I was really excited for them, especially the O-line. They did a tremendous job. The coaches did a really good job at halftime talking with players about, number one, the coaches did a really good job in the locker room at halftime about the things that we needed to get to, the adjustments we needed to make. The players believed in those. They stepped up, and they did it. And a big shout out to the O-line, because they were persistent all night, and obviously in the third quarter and fourth quarter, it really showed. Well, I mean, they weren't stopping him, so Coach Cutter's pretty good at what he does, obviously, and I don't know why he would stop running it until they did. And so he's, again, it opened up the interior run game as well, because there were bodies flowing in the perimeter trying to slow him down. There is an element to, being able to manage what you have within the game plan and be able to get to things. They adjusted on defense too at times and gave us looks where we had to get out of those run plays because obviously they got really good coaches over there as well that understand and know the things they need to do to take it away.
Had a fan that stopped by. You wanted to talk, man. How's it going? What'd you think of the game?
I thought it took a little bit too long for us to adjust to what we saw in the first half, and I think that with it being the first half as with a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator, I think it might have took a little bit too long.
Okay,
but I understand that we have to adjust to who is playing quarterback.
Okay.
And we saw that in the first game against Oregon State.
Yep.
And we saw that Taylor Green rushed for over 100 yards against Oregon State. And I think that we need to fit our offense to Taylor Green. And I think we saw that in the second half today.
There you go.
And with the option type offense.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people don't like that.
He sounds like a coach here, kid. He knows what he's talking about.
With the Boise State offense, we haven't really seen that recently with Hank Bachmeier being at quarterback.
Yeah.
But we saw in the second half, I think, Taylor Green threw the ball like five.
It wasn't very many. I think four times in the second half. 4 or 5
times in the second half. And I think that confused San Diego State quite a bit.
It did.
And I was, honestly, as a fan, I was quite confident going into the second half because of the fact that if you look into San Diego State's the past
I don't think there were not many confident Boise State fans going into the second half.
I'm not going to say the numbers I threw out there, but I put out there that we'd win by 7 when we were down 13-0.
I'll give you that then.
And
we appreciate you stopping by. Go ahead, finish up.
I was going to say that if you look into San Diego State's numbers, that majority of their points on offense are scored in the first half.
Okay.
Which, I know that they have played Utah, Toledo, Arizona, which is like 2 Pac-12 schools, but they aren't the best squad. Like, they're usually known for their defensive tenacity and being able to attack the ball. And I think that this is actually the worst team that they've had in probably the last 5+ years, honestly, in terms of defense.
Okay.
And I think that we were able to attack that tonight.
There you
go.
go.
It took a halftime adjustment for that to happen.
Well, they got it done.
And I appreciate that because it took a halftime adjustment, and we've seen that in most of our games as Boise State fans it took a halftime adjustment.
Well, we appreciate you coming by. Back. There you go. We appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe I incorrectly admitted this, Kent, but I told people if they stop by, we'll put them on. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on, and there you go. We appreciate the analysis.
Go Broncos.
We appreciate the analysis there. Boise State won the middle four and won the game. Avalos, I know that last year that was a big deal for him, the middle four, the last four of the second quarter and the first four of the third quarter, and that proved to be the difference again.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you think about that, like coming out of halftime. I think we held them going into halftime, right?
Yeah.
They got the ball coming out of halftime and got the turnover, scored right away. I mean, huge change in the game, huge change in momentum. So that was great.
People were loving that guy.
Yeah, we need to get him back.
Yeah. People were requesting me to take the mic, open mic, love it. Yeah, I was trying. Maybe
get more people down here. Get more people on.
Maybe a BAC test before the next guy comes on.
No way. Why would we do that?
Oh man, some guy goes, "Let's not do that again." Come on, people were we were loving that there. Too many cutwaters, that guy said.
He had I thought he had some good points.
This guy's vibe. He was at the James for too long.
Hey, I was with that we were going to win by 7-2. So
he says hammered and still smarter than Plow. We got all kinds of comments coming here. Get this guy's drunk ass out of here. Hey, I made a deal. I said if you came down to the James, I'd put you on. Any of you guys that are watching, we'll put you on as well. But it's funny because, when you're down 13, we were talking in the UT Martin game, post-game, how there were not enough style points, and it didn't look pretty enough. And then you saw what happened when you can't even win the game against, UTEP. Tonight, when you're down 13-0, you're just thinking you just win 14-13, like just win the game.
Yeah,
but that second half, man, that was as impressive as a half as they've had all season.
I would agree, 1,000%. But it just never really felt like the game was out of hand. I mean, the fact that the defense held them to 2 field goals, I thought was huge.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden you're going like, hey, look, we just need 2 plays. And, it took, I think, legitimately 3 plays in the second half, right?
Yeah, it was
pick.
You had the pick, and then it was a
2-play drive,
14-yard run, 17-yard run, touchdown.
Yeah. Yep. So all of a sudden now you're going, okay, well, now we only really need 1 play, and we're a minute into the second half. So I think the confidence goes through the roof at that point. Like, we got this. That was the plan. And but I can't tell you like how big those drive stopping deals were in the first half. And like I said before, I mean, a credit to the fans.
Yeah,
because they were huge.
6
in that.
false starts.
Yeah. Well, and
third down, making some noise.
Absolutely. I mean, I think at one point one of those that was third or first and goal at the 5 turned into 3rd and 15 at the 15. So your success rate on that's really bad.
People are still loving that guy. They're asking for him to come back, but
I kind of think
someone said
back.
Need plexiglass, so maybe we need the plexiglass to.
No.
Anybody else? You want to give some
back.
words? Oh, we got another guy. Let's try this again. We're batting 1,000 here, Kent. Let's go one more. Come on in here, man. Give us. You got to lean over a little bit.
Appreciate it.
You got a lot to live up to from the previous guest, but
no cuss words for me.
Give us your analysis of the game, and the mic is yours, man. If you have a question for Coach Riddle, feel free as well.
Listen, BJ, you're the man.
Oh, I'm loving this guy already.
You're the man as well.
Loving this guy already.
Golly, I'll tell you what. This offense looked great tonight. They switched offense coordinator, they switched quarterbacks. I get a little mix and stuff, but golly, man, that offense rolled the ball. And as a Boise State Bronco fan, golly, I was not expecting that. I really wasn't. And
down 13-0 at halftime.
Unbelievable. Taylon Green. Shout out to Taylon Green. Shout out to
they're loving the golly. They're loving the golly, man.
I know it's a little old school.
I
know it's a little old school.
You're getting roasted.
No, I won't cuss. I won't cuss. I promise that. But my biggest issue is Dirk Cutter came in. And he made the simple passes for the quarterback. I don't know if we've seen that from Plow, right? The little running back in the flat, right? Just a quick, easy pass that gained 8 yards, 10 yards. I don't know if that's the defense. I don't know if that's the offense, but it seemed like Plow
never really got that going, the easy passes for the quarterback. And it really seemed like when Dirk Cutter was in there, he got those easy passes for the quarterback, which opened up the run game, right? It's just all a cycle, right? And I'm really impressed by the Boise State offense. Defense, we knew what they were going to do. The Boise State offense was very impressive tonight. I'm a big-time Boise State Bronco fan, and golly, holy moly, I'll tell you what, go Broncos! Woo!
We appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. We're 2 for 2. The fans are loving this here.
More of this.
Oh, man. Yeah, people are loving this right now. Golly guy. They're calling him Golly guy. I love it. Love this dude. It's the energy. Man, the voice cracks. This guy's belligerent.
Yeah, he obviously was part of the south end zone, knocking them out of field position.
Oh, man, this guy's going to become a meme, somebody said. The dude is spot on, though. What'd you make about what he actually said?
Yeah, well,
Plow has some short passes to the running back sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just, hey, things clicked tonight.
Yep.
And I couldn't tell you why they didn't click, but they didn't, and that's reality. And tonight they did, and it's awesome. Hey, I'd be lying if I said everything from here on is like, everything's just going to be smooth and everything will look like the second half. I mean, there's going to be tough times, and the thing they're working on is to make those tough times like one drive, one quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do we fix that? Obviously Talon, it didn't start out great. He made a bad decision. Probably got lucky that he didn't have a second pick. The guy landed out of bounds when he caught it.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have hurt us. I mean,
it would have been further than the punt. It was further than the punt would have been, actually.
But like there's going to be moments of that where it's just not going right. But you know what? They now know, like, hey, we can fix that.
Yeah.
And why that is or how it happened or whatever, it just is. And we can all get all bent out of shape or whatever. It doesn't matter. They get a chance to win the conference. They get a chance to battle back from some adversity, see that it works. And then I think that gives them unbelievable confidence going forward.
Jesse says when these guys see themselves on the recording tomorrow, they're going to be like, "Oh no, what have I done?" The two guys.
I don't know.
Someone said it's
legends.
You know what? Mind. Someone said it's good to see Bronco fans happy. Golly,
that's what I think. Yeah.
They want the golly merchandise already.
Hey, we all want to be happy, right? I mean, no, I'm being serious. Like nobody more than the players, the coaches.
Yeah,
those guys have been working their ass off, and hey, stuff didn't go right for a week or two, and like I said, it's nobody's fault. It just is what it is, and got a little different energy, and it did go right tonight.
So when you have the Friday game, now this one was Friday to Friday, so it wasn't necessarily a short week, but when you have the Friday game and now you have the extra day before the next game next Saturday, how nice is it now that you've got the win to have that extra day and sit around and maybe the players get a chance to watch some college football tomorrow for a change. Yeah. And I'm sure that extra day is much nicer coming off a win on a Friday night.
It's going to be great. The players get a day to relax, kind of take care of their bodies, recoup for a little bit. I mean, we're a month into the season now, right? So those guys they're hurting, they're sore. So an extra day is going to be huge. As coaches, they'll take tomorrow, especially defensively, and they'll self-scout stuff and figure out like, hey, what's really good for us? What do we need to work on? Kind of work in that area. And then offensively, just an extra day to regroup and say like, okay, where are we now? This, because everything was different tonight, right? And they basically had 5 days to figure it out.
Yep.
Where are we now? What can we do? What can't we do? Where can we make progress? What's like, hey, that's never going to work. Let's get it out of here and try and direct things that way.
So
I really think like a week from now, you're going to see even better Boise State because of especially offensively, like just the chance to understand how we're working together. What do we have and what don't we have?
We got folks calling for wanting you to come back and coach the offensive line. You ever coach? You've done tight ends, running backs. Have you ever coached the O-line in your career? I'm trying to remember back.
I have not coached the O-line. I've definitely been working with the O-line.
Somebody else. What can we do as fans to get you back to coach the O-line? So folks are enjoying hearing from you.
I don't know if that's a great idea. Hey, trust me, I love blocking. In my mind, like John Bates, Alec Dams, Holden Huff, those guys, like they were, glorified O linemen.
Yeah,
they got to catch the ball a little bit, but I think we're better with other guys coaching.
Well, we're enjoying having you not coaching just for the sole reason that you can join us on these shows, and we appreciate you coming on. Chris V says need 36,000 of those fans of the two we just had to show up. We got Let's Ride. What else we got? Great Points. Bronco Nation, Let's Ride. Really like seeing Cutter on the field. They actually tried a trick play tonight. They tried it looked like Davis was going to throw it too.
Oh, he's definitely going to throw it.
And it didn't work out, but I actually enjoyed finally seeing a little
but
trickery.
That's a great thing about having a guy like Davis doing that. Like you trust me, we've had Cedric Wilson, John Hightower. I mean, a lot of guys we trust, but that's why you do those things, because you trust a guy. Like, hey, if it's not there, hey, a -3 or an incomplete or whatever, it's better than just panic and throw it up and bad stuff happening. So I would expect to see more of that down the road. Hey, I'm fired up. The Broncos got after it tonight.
Yeah.
So whoever said 36,000, like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do that. Let's set a record next week. These guys
it was
need
about 34,000 tonight, I think they announced. Yeah.
So let's get this thing sold out, like standing room only. Like, let's make, because it was loud tonight. You saw what that did to San Diego State.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it with even more people next week and think about how big an impact that makes against, probably the favorite in the West.
I was going to say, I mean, Hainer or not, you're probably still going up a level in competition.
Well, I would say certainly after tonight, they would be the favorite. I mean, obviously UNLV and San Jose are playing well, but Fresno's. I would expect to see Jake Hainer next week.
Probably so.
I don't think he came back this year to probably sit out this game. So,
Colin, you get over here real quick. The folks, before we end the show, we got 3 or 4 Collins here. Everybody wants to see Colin. So, Colin, you were on the field for the game. To give us your thoughts, man.
Yeah, it was. I guess similar to last week in a sense at UTEP, where it was the fans were down. The fans weren't feeling good at all, and the second half, it was just 2 plays in, touchdown, or I guess the third play because the interception. But things just changed, and it was miraculous. I don't know how they scored 35 unanswered points, but
what about the noise being down there on the field too, man?
It was loud for sure. There was one of the clips. I think it was Holani's touchdown. That was pretty loud, and I mean there was moments where it was loud the whole time. But they during the end of the third into the fourth, the team ran over to the north end zone or south end zone, whatever it was, with their fists up for fourth quarter, and that was a pretty cool moment, I thought.
They tried the new fourth quarter thing too with they're trying to do some things. We couldn't see the light show. It's not dark yet. They have this cool light show prepared for pregame, but we won't see it. Colin is the flow of BNN. Love me some Colin. You're getting more comments than anybody, man. I know Ken did pretty well tonight as well. He's having fun, so we appreciate it, man. Nice work. You and Jaden, all the clips and everything, all the highlights you saw from the field. I was up in the press box having my Diet Dr. Pepper and watching the game and had my stats. These guys were working their ass off on the field, getting the highlights and everything. Final couple of minutes here, Ken, as we wrap this up. We got some beverages to finish here, so we're going to end this show. But everybody's in a good mood, having a good time. I know it's one win, but what can I know you kind of touched on it, but what can a win like this do inside that building just to get everybody going now? Everybody knows they can believe in Taylon Green. This defense, again knows that they can, be relied on. You get Holani and Genty going, feeling good. Dirk Cutter gets his first game under his belt as well. 2-2 is pretty ugly. 3-2 feels a little different than 2-2, even though it's just one game. How can they use this to kind of springboard them forward?
Well, I think the real key is, well, first let me tell you, it obviously gives you confidence and gives you energy and all that, but the real key is like, how do you back it up, right? You can't sit there and go like, oh, well, all right, we got it all figured out now, because that's what scares you as a coach. Like, oh yeah, it's all solved. We made some changes, it's all good, and then you kind of rest on that, and all of a sudden you find out it's not good. So you got to challenge yourself, and you got to build on that energy and momentum and confidence, and like we got to go back to work harder than we even did last week. But you do have a knowledge of, especially as coaches, hey, this is going to work for us. Like let's probably stay away from that. And what that is, I don't know. I would think they'd probably be self-scouting and look like, okay, hey, we ran this play. Like, do we have play action off of that for when they overcommit to this? That's the kind of stuff they'll be looking at. But I think, the whole team-wise, it's like, hey, we've got more to do here. There's way more out in front of us. If we can get this one and build on it, we can beat Fresno.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're in the driver's seat.
Oh, I know people were excited going into this game, but I would think the excitement going into the Fresno State game on a Saturday night, 7:45, you got more time to tailgate, plan out the day. I would think it should be really excited. Somebody said to get Colin a drink, and then the next response was, is Colin old enough to drink? Colin's old enough to drink. We can maybe start a little maybe start some what do you got? Venmo or something, to get Colin some drinks here for all of his hard work. But Kent, really appreciate your time. Appreciate all the comments. We didn't end up playing the player videos because we thought it was more fun to talk to drunk fans instead. We will get
let's keep that going.
We will get Tyreek Jones and we will get George Helani up on our YouTube channel here shortly, so you'll be able to go to the YouTube, Bronco Nation News YouTube, and you can get both of those, the George Helani, the Tyreek Jones, the full Andy Avalos as well. But appreciate everybody. Record viewership once again. Thank you to all of our great sponsors, Lithia, Florida, Boise, Rowpaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, all of our other sponsors. And appreciate the James. We're going to have some pizza and hang out for a little while. And great night. Great win for Boise State. Great weather. It's perfect out here on the patio. So
huge win. Going to be a big weekend next week. Let's make sure we fill the stadium, support these guys, and fired up to see where Bronco Nation's headed.
And more importantly, 5 perfect holds from the holder.
Thank God.
That'll do it for today's show. We appreciate everybody. I'll be back Monday morning with John Mallory, 9 a.m. on Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Rock Chalk Jayhawk for my Jayhawks tomorrow as we look to go 5-0. But appreciate everybody for checking us out. Come on down to the James next Saturday and join us for the pregame show about 6 o'clock. We got the postgame show as well. Everybody's giving us some good thanks, Coach. Thanks, Joe. Party at my house. We'll think about that. But everybody's enjoying it. Appreciate it, all the great comments, and we'll do it again next week. So have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Full coverage. I'll have an article and stuff up. Bronco Nation News. Boise State wins it 35-13. BroncoNationNews.com.